Welcome, everyone, to Rutgers, the voice of college football. After Rutgers defeats Miami of Ohio and goes to 2-0 on the season, I'm here with my fantastic co-host, Gabriel Pickup, and we're going to talk to you today about the game, the stars, and we're going to analyze Rutgers on offense and defense as they prepare for Week 3 against Norfolk State. Before we do that, quick promo from the president of the Voice of College Football, Mark Rogers.
College football is even more exciting when you've got some action on the line, and the games are even better when you're cashing in. And the Voice of College Football is the place to be to get the greatest value. Start with my picks. 75% against the money line, 58% against the spread, and I've got a 40-plus year track record. 11-0 in the college football playoff for me last year against the money line, 8-3 against the spread. And I'm just the warm-up act. Steve Merrill of Wager Talk is our ace in the hole, show stopper. 7 years with the Voice of College Football, over 30 years in the industry. Steve gives us analysis on all the big games, but you can't miss Steve's weekly under-the-radar pick. 28-12 against the spread the last 3 years. You also get picks from some of our top analysts here at the Voice of College Football, including Corey Bratta, Matt Zemek, and Steve Dace. Check out those numbers. Become a YouTube or Patreon member for just $99 per month. Go to the main channel on YouTube, click join, and then select a betting tier. Do the same thing on Patreon. Make 2025 a winner now.
Okay, Gabe, 45-17 Rutgers. Let's get your thoughts on the game. We're 2-0 now, heading into Norfolk State, which should take us to 3-0 before that all-important game against the Hawkeyes, who lost today to Iowa State. So, general thoughts on the game?
It felt closer than 45-17 this game, unfortunately. And I don't want to be a Debbie Downer because that is a blowout victory. But it just felt like on both sides of the football, but definitely on defense, there were some things missing. But what I did see was Ethan Kaliakmanis showing up again, having another lights-out performance. 4 touchdowns, still no interceptions on the season. That completion percentage is still in the 70s, which through 2 games, that's amazing. Ian Strong and KJ Duff, they have chemistry, obviously, because they go back to high school together. But they really could be the 1 and 2 on this offense. And that's with all due respect to DT Sheffield. DT is a reliable slot guy. He can burn you with his speed. He can play in special teams, and he can still have a really good year. But to me, with the amount of targets that Ian Strong is getting and the good catches that KJ Duff is getting, that's a formidable duo because KJ Duff, I think he had 6 catches, 71 yards, and that touchdown was incredible. He's had the best catches on the team so far. I was happy with the involvement of the tight ends this game, the running core. It looks like Antoine Raymond may be making a run for it as our RB1. I'm happy with the offense. The defense, though, there were some guys like Jet Elad and some others, Eric O'Neill, that could have done a little bit better. Jet definitely had a good second half, but it's just that first half, that play where he got burnt on a simple hezzy move. It was a little eye-opening.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I kind of took away 3 things from this game. Number 1, Ethan Kaliakmanis, second straight great game. Okay, 26 of 36. Now, that was with about 4 minutes left, so it might slightly have changed. But 26 of 36, 259 yards, 4 touchdowns. His completion percentage has gone way up. He looks like he's in command in the pocket, and he looks like a leader on the field. So congratulations to Ethan. Second thing I want to say is the receivers. He did a great job of spreading it out to our great wide receiver room. Ian Strong, 9 receptions for 116 yards and 2 touchdowns. KJ Duff, 6 receptions for 71 yards and a touchdown. And DT, 5 receptions for 37 yards. And don't forget Kenny Fletcher with those 2 receptions. So a deep wide receiver core that got the ball, multiple receivers, led to a balanced offense. Now, the third thing I'd say is still have concerns about that defense.
Yeah.
In the first half, they did not look good. And I'll tell you what really turned this game around. What turned this game around was the interception that Daquan pinned through. Because at that point, Miami was matching us, and they had gotten a stop on defense. That interception turned the whole complexion of the game, plus some more mistakes by Miami of Ohio. Not a great team, but Still, the defense, while it got some important stops, namely in the fourth quarter, when Miami of Ohio had it 2nd and 1, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, they stopped them. That's something to be proud of. But I still have concerns about, number one, the defensive line not getting too much of a pass rush, and the secondary getting burned. So what are your thoughts?
To me, it kind of feels like, you know how I said last week that Parker Navarro looked like Lamar Jackson? Well,
Yeah.
to me, Daquan Finn looked like Parker Navarro out there. And
That's a great point.
he had 258 yards. He had 85 yards rushing, a touchdown. He had a long of 39 yards rushing. To me, it felt like we just couldn't make those tackles on Finn. And there were also a lot of plays where he put, the wide receivers would get some room on our guys, on Bo, on Jacoby, on Cam Miller. And good teams would have completed those plays. So that's what concerns me about the defense. We only gave up 17 points, but this team scored 0 last week. And we had given up 2 touchdowns in the first quarter and a half. And, there were some good second half adjustments. It was a great fourth down, lack of conversion right before Antoine Raymond put us up 3 scores. I was very happy with the offense, and the defense did enough against a team like this. But for the second week in a row, I'm going to say that the defense only did enough against teams in this caliber, right? Like Ohio, Miami of Ohio, Norfolk State, Purdue. Those are the only teams on our schedule where you can get away with this kind of defense.
Yeah, I agree with you. And like I said, I think the defense is still a concern. And when I look at the statistics from the game, it kind of bears that out. Miami, 350 total yards, 251 passing yards, 99 rushing yards.
Yeah,
and
look at Keith Reynolds and Cam Perry combining 11 catches for 228 yards.
Yeah, that's troubling. And one of the stats that stuck out to me was yards per play. Miami of Ohio, 8.8 yards per play. And this actually happened when the time of possession differential was huge. Miami of Ohio only had the ball for 19 minutes. Rutgers had it for 39 minutes, and of course a few more minutes because we came on before the game ended. But that type of disparity in time of possession, while it's great, it elevates my concern because they were able to amass 350 yards of total offense in that short amount of time. So I think that we're going to be playing Oregon, Penn State, at Washington, at Illinois, which demolished Duke today, okay, Iowa. And when I think about those teams, going to Columbus, Ohio State, that defense is going to struggle. And that's why I'm glad we're 2-0, but I see the season proceeding in a way where, I hate to say it, but it could be 5 or 6 losses.
Yeah, look, when it comes to our criticism, we're not saying we can get out and do these things, but to me, at certain points in the game, it looked like a high school defense, particularly in the first half. Some of the plays, it just came down to miscommunication, like the Jet Elod getting burnt play. That could have been prevented if another safety were to drop back. And then also there was another play. I think it was in the third quarter. I want to say it was the one to Cam Perry, the second play. That one also could have been prevented where he caught the ball, went left with it, almost scored. Look, their longs are 69 yards and 62 yards as a tandem. To me, Ohio State, Oregon, they can do that 3 or 4 times in a game against us, at least, if this is how we're going to play. And what's a little concerning to me is that Coach Shiano said that he spent all week focusing on the defense. And sure, 17 points allowed, it doesn't seem bad. But like you said, the total yardage is the story. We're not going to be able to get those turnovers because, Finn looked great for most of the game, but he is a lower tier quarterback in the CFB, FBS scheme of things. So, against the other quarterbacks like Sayin, like Drew Aller, they're not going to be making those mistakes.
No, I totally agree with you. And when you think about it, Miami only had about 40 plays, only had the ball for about 19 minutes. and still being able to amass 350 yards and over 250 yards passing doesn't bode well. Now, look, our criticism, shouldn't be interpreted to, we understand the coaches coach hard, the players play hard, they sacrifice, and we support them 1,000%, and we'll always support them because we love Rutgers football. But, just to be honest about it, this defense is not going to hold up against Drew Aller. It's not going to hold up, against Julian Sayin in Ohio State. It's going to struggle against Luke Altmaier in Illinois in Champaign. Yeah. It's going to struggle at Washington. It's going to struggle, so I'm seeing like 5 or 6 losses. And if Schiano was working on the defense all week, and this is the production that the defense gave, there were some bright spots, but they've got to fix that, because the offense, as good as it is not going to be able to win games if the defense, isn't, keeping these teams. It isn't. I don't know how to describe it except to say that the defense is not getting any push from the defensive linemen, and the secondary just looks really kind of somewhat weak at this point. And against better teams, that's going to spell problems for us.
Yeah, we did good against their running backs. Just their running quarterback, we did terrible against for the second week in a row. And it's just going to be more of the same. I know we're 2-0. We won by 28, and it's not often that you win by 28 and you see it sort of as a bad thing. And it's not the score that I have a problem with. 45-17. I'll take that any day of the week, no matter who the opponent is. It's just a matter of the yards, the way the game went. The way the game went in the first quarter and a half, and then sort of towards the middle of the third quarter, right before we scored another touchdown, it was looking a little competitive again. And, thankfully the fans were able to get involved again. But as it is right now, we start 2-0, and I'm happy about that. But based on what I've seen so far, this is a 5-win team. I think our offense, like I said, there's 4 games that we have no excuse to lose in. And it's the first 2 we've played so far, Norfolk State and Purdue. Those are the 4 I'm saying we win. And based on how we've played so far, I think Ethan and this offense, because it's a damn good offense, can carry us to another win or 2. But how we're playing right now as a unit, it's 6 wins max.
Yeah, I think so too. And look, as good as the offense is, the fact of the matter is they're going to play defenses that are far more elite, starting with the Hawkeyes, then the Buckeyes, then Oregon, Penn State, Washington, Illinois. Our offense isn't going to be scoring 45 points every game. These defenses are probably going to hold us somewhere between 21, 28 points at best.
That's wishful thinking.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I said at best.
Yeah. With
this defense, we're going to be in deep trouble. And that's why when I look at this team compared to last year's team, I think last year's team was better. I really do, because, they went to Nebraska. They only gave up 14 points, and they were competitive against really good teams. But once we elevate the competition, I think we struggle. And that's why I'm happy that we won. But like you said, it was closer than the score indicates. And when I look to the future, it's just very concerning and somewhat disappointing, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel like we scored 17 points in quarter 2 and 14 in quarter 4. It felt like we coasted quarter 4 and quarter 2. The whole game did feel a little dragged out, and that's really just because of the weather delay and the fact that we were sort of running a more conservative offense this week than last. But it got the job done. It was interesting. What did you think about Ethan being involved in the running game this week? Because it wasn't just like improv running. It was plays designed for him to run. And to me, he looked a little bit slow when we did that.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of designing running plays for him. However, I do think that when he's under pressure and when he does decide to run, he does exercise good judgment. Yeah. But I don't think there should be any designed runs for him. What I will say also, that offensive line did a fantastic job today. And that is a true strength of that offense. They gave him time to throw.
Yeah.
He was on point. We talked previously, his completion percentage was low the last couple of years. This time, he's over 70%, totally improved, a great leader. He's got a great arm, very good accuracy today. And the offensive line really protected him. And Antoine Raymond and C.J. Campbell both had very good games. Antoine, 11 carries for 43 yards and a touchdown. And
CJ, Antoine got 13 for 82.
13 for 82. So,
6.5, 6.3 average.
Okay, that's why coming on a few minutes before the game ends, that's what causes it. But C.J. Campbell at the time we came on, 4.5 yards per carry.
Yep.
So it's a very solid offense. But again, the defense to me is one of the worst defenses that I've seen in recent years. And that's why I kind of just feel like, the joy of a victory is kind of deflated by what I think the future holds.
I will say this though. Hey, Gators fans, how y'all holding up?
Yeah. What do they call it? The Gator Chomp? Chomp on this.
Yeah, there's no M in chomp.
Florida.
It's chomp, not chomp. And guess what? I said on this show on Monday, guess who's going to have a better year than DJ Lagway? Ethan Kaliakmanis. And guess what you guys said? You guys said who? You didn't even give him the acknowledgement of existing as a person, let alone a quarterback, let alone a good quarterback. So after losing to South Florida and only scoring 16 points as a unit to the unranked South Florida as number 13 ranked in the nation, and Miami of Ohio, MAC conference, whatever, we still score 45 points. Ethan has over 70% completion percentage. He has 6 touchdown passes on the year, 0 interceptions. How do you like that?
Well, I'll tell you, so far, you're right that Ethan has had, and I say is the MVP of the game, has had a better year than DJ Lagway. But if I can make an analogy, when you watch like horse racing, like the Kentucky Derby or the Preakness, and there's always a horse that starts out ahead.
He's not that horse. He's not treading lightly.
I have confidence in Ethan. I think he's going to have a fantastic year. Maybe you're right. Maybe he will have a better year than Lagway. I'm not so sure about that, but I know he's going to have a great year, and he's the anchor for this offense, and he deserves all the credit he gets.
Yeah, I'm half joking, but I'm also half statistically he could. I'm not saying that we'll get more wins than y'all down in Florida. I'm not saying that if we were to face off, we would beat you guys. I'm not saying any other part of our offense or defense is better, but the 2 quarterbacks statistically, you will see one of them in Piscataway, New Jersey, having the better year. That's all I'm saying.
Well, if Florida came to Piscataway, it would be a game. And, South Florida is no slouch, of course. They took Alabama into the fourth quarter last year. They're a good team, but no excuse for Florida losing in the swamp. And DJ did not have a great game. So your prediction right now is 100% right. We'll see as the season unfolds.
Yeah, you guys have a great running back. You guys do have a good quarterback, and you have a fantastic defense. I'm not shading you guys. I'm just saying give Ethan his props. That's all.
Yeah, Ethan, you're
at least recognize him as a person. Come on.
Yeah, Ethan does deserve all the credit. I mean, the way he has grown as a quarterback, in just several months has been so impressive. And I'll tell you, he's going to impress a lot of NFL scouts if he continues this because his leadership is great, his arm and accuracy are fantastic, and his decision-making has so clearly improved that, he's making Rutgers offense a force to be reckoned with, particularly because we have depth in wide receiver, running back, and that offensive line is stout. But the defense, it's like Jekyll and Hyde. That defense is going to, if it doesn't improve, we're looking at a 5-6 win season.
Hey, how about Jay Patel again, scoring another field goal, extending his record to 15 in a row? And underrated stat for kickers because they're expected to go in, but 6 of 6 on the extra points today too. He doesn't miss. Knock on wood, he doesn't miss.
How nice it is to have a kicker that's reliable. I remember back in the late 90s when Florida State lost games because they just missed those field goals at the last second. Poor Blair Walsh, of course, with the Minnesota. But Jay Patel, congratulations to him. He's been consistent, and consistency is the name of the game. Now, what are we going to do about the defense? How are we going to improve this defense?
So I thought obviously we did a.
Where was Eric O'Neill? Where is Eric? Where is he?
See, I thought I was actually going to compliment him. I thought in the second half, even though he only got a half tackle for loss, no sacks, 3 tackles overall, I thought his presence was known today. And it's like there were a couple of times, particularly on 3rd and 1, where they ran up the middle and he bumped a running back into being a little disoriented, and that's when Elad would jump on him. That's when Moses Walker jumped on him, and so I want to give him that credit at least. It's like he made his impact outside of the stat sheet today. And the second half, again, we did a lot better. We did a lot better on the defense in the second half last week too. How do we prevent these quick starts?
Yeah, well, look, in my opinion, it's easier to fix a weak secondary than it is to fix a weak defensive line. Okay. A lot of things in the secondary is about technique, discipline, knowing the scheme, fitting the plays right. But the defensive line, a lot of that's about physicality.
Yeah.
And what I'm seeing is that our interior defensive linemen, they're not getting any push. And if you give any of these quarterbacks from Oregon or Drew Aller, Julian Sayin, Luke Altmaier at Illinois, you give them any time to throw, we're going to be looking at games where we lose, 48-30, and that's not where we want to be. So I gotta believe that this defense can play better, because right now all the optimism for the football program is kind of tempered by a defense that I think, given our transfer portal acquisitions, is much weaker than I thought.
Yeah, I mean, there were a couple of plays where I thought that they just made a better play than we had bad defense. For example, the play that Cam Miller got injured on late in the fourth quarter. Finn threw it like right over his shoulder. Granted, Miller didn't do anything but stare directly at his guy. And, if you've ever played cornerback out there, you know that a wide receiver you're covering, a tight end you're covering, they'll bluff. They'll bluff until they get the ball. And that's why you have to not just stare at your guy, have your hands up in the air, do some sort of like half jumping jacks, if you will, keep strides with him. And that's something that comes down to the coaching, though. Like, I'm sure they're telling these guys that. I thought the beef in the front four was a lot better in the fourth quarter in particular. I mean, like, pressure on the ball, we were doing that. We were actually getting plays where we were containing Finn. It only took 7 quarters for us to figure out we need to contain a running quarterback, but we finally did it. So, when it comes to the game, I'm a little disappointed with a 28-point victory. Crazy enough to say. But unlike Ohio, where I would just tell myself better luck next week, I actually saw some signs of how we can improve next week.
Yeah, and I don't want to sit here and criticize the defense, recognizing that, look, as we've said, they work hard, they play hard, and they did have some bright spots today. In the fourth quarter, when they got those stops, when they had 2nd and short, that also was a pivotal point in the game. And, of course, they got the interception in the second quarter when they were driving. But what we need to see is consistency. And I think my guess is that a lot of the problems are due to a lack of discipline, and that they're going to have to be more disciplined, in playing their roles. And I think Coach Giano is going to obviously work on that. But the question is, how much can they improve so that we can be competitive in the Big Ten? I just am concerned that it's not going to happen this year, and it's very early in the season to feel that way. But the early returns are not looking promising.
Yeah, they're not looking promising. We have I'm not giving up on the year yet, obviously, but we have a really good recruiting portal in 2026. Even with the loss of Tavion Branch to Penn State, man, that one stings, especially having him on the show. But good luck, brother. We still have some very good players coming. We got Wadiq Collier, who reclassified to this year. He's a freshman. He was a 4-star out of Pennsylvania. We have Jared Smith coming from Georgia. We have some guys. We have another quarterback from Germantown in Pennsylvania coming. We still have Suris, who is a sophomore this year. and he's expected to start next year. So he's going to have 2 years too. I'm excited for this team's future. I'm not giving up on this year, obviously, but when you think about giving up versus staying optimistic, what is the optimistic goal?
The optimistic goal this year, in my view, is to come out with 7 wins and to get a victory over a really good Big Ten team like Illinois, like Washington, Penn State, Oregon, or Ohio State. I think if they win one of those 5 games and they come out with 7 wins, it's going to be a great foundation for what I think is going to be a very successful 2026 season. But the focus has to be on winning in the trenches and having the kind of defense that's going to disrupt the quarterback. And because when we play Ohio State, Oregon, when we play Illinois, we're not going to be scoring 45 points.
No.
And so the focus is, do I think we can win 7 games? Yes. I'd like to see 7 wins that include a victory over a very good Big Ten opponent. And then I think we can say this was a season that we should be proud of and we can build on.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. So you include Iowa as one of those teams that we have to beat then?
Yes, I think we absolutely have to beat Iowa. And I think it was not good news for Rutgers today that they lost 16-13 to Iowa State.
Yeah, that is kind of how Iowa plays.
Yeah, that's how Iowa plays. And when Iowa comes to Piscataway, they're not going to come in expecting a second loss. They're going to come in with a great defense. And then the question is going to be, can Iowa's offense, which is typically not very good, score points on us? And right now, it seems to me that Iowa would probably win a close one. And but if the defense can improve over the next 2 weeks and we beat Iowa and go 4-0, then we're in a position where I think when we go to Minnesota, we can win that. When we go to Illinois, it's going to be tough, but it's possible. We go to Washington, it's a possible win. So there's a lot of potential victories if we play our best and if that defense improves, because we theoretically, of course, could beat Iowa, could beat Washington, could beat Illinois. Okay. Now, are we going to beat Oregon, Ohio State, and Penn State? Probably not. But I think if we were able to beat Minnesota, Illinois, Washington, and Iowa, that to me is a successful season that we should be proud of.
I think we have a little more motivation to beat Penn State today, though.
Why is that? Because, look, Tavion, you were a great guest on the show. Obviously a very smart guy, great, talented. Wish you the best of luck at Penn State. We're going to miss you at Rutgers, but that's a great man right there. And, he's
very mature for he's either 16 or 17. And, he talks like he's like 22 or 23. Like he talks like we had DT on the show. He has the same maturity as him. So, Penn State, you're our bitter rivals, but we would be lying if we said this didn't hurt.
Yeah, it hurts, but it's one of those things where, hey, he's got to do what's right for him, and his maturity level is higher than most adults, and those intangibles are going to serve him well. Yeah.
But yes, that doesn't mean we don't have more motivation this year to beat Penn State in light of that news, and also because Cam Miller's, if healthy after this injury, going to be out there playing against his old team that he started on too. So maybe that was just their payback for stealing one of their starting defensive backs. Do you believe in superstitions?
Yes, sometimes.
So we haven't won a game against a ranked opponent since when? 2012, 2014. Yes. Iowa losing to Iowa State at least gives us a chance to beat them because they will not be ranked next week or 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, look, Iowa State, I believe they went to Europe, nice sightseeing tour in Ireland, and defeated a good Kansas State team that was ranked 12th at that point.
Which, by the way, Kansas State should not have been ranked 12th. But that's another conversation.
Yeah, that's true too. But they did beat Kansas State soundly. Now, what I saw from today's game with Iowa State is Iowa still has a great defense. And Iowa still has a really, really average offense. Same old Iowa team.
Putting it
So
well.
how does their style of football fit with our style of football? Well, it suggests to me their defense is going to hold our offense to probably under 24 points. The question is going to be, does our defense, improve enough to hold them to, 17, 20 points? I think it's possible, but right now, if they need to improve. Otherwise, I could see a loss coming along the lines of, 24 to 20 or 20 to 17. So, but we'll see. But I do think this year, our chances of beating Iowa are higher than they've been in the past, and our chances of winning those gray area games.
Yeah.
When they could beat Illinois, they could beat Washington, they could beat, Minnesota. I think that we're going to be in all of those games. So there's reason to be hopeful, but the defense has to improve if we're going to get beyond 6 wins.
I mean, it kind of feels like every game is like the swing state of games.
Yeah.
There was obviously that red sweep or whatever in 2024, but like usually in an election, there's like 5 or 6 states that are swing states. Every game besides the 4 that I mentioned, and unfortunately Ohio State, Penn State, and Oregon feel like swing games. And I actually have some optimism for Iowa. I think that we're going to trail in the first half, and that's where it's going to be like a test. Are we a real football team this year? And we're going to go into the locker room. I see down 10-7, 10-3, maybe even 14-3 or 7 or 10. And I think we're going to come out in the second half and play like the competent offense that we've been so far. In fact, we've been a stellar offense so far. And we're going to look like a real offense against, for the first time, a really good defense.
Yeah, and I think, I could see Ethan leading Rutgers to a game-winning score at the end to win the game.
Oh yeah, that would be a legacy game for him. That would be a game that shoots him from UDFA to maybe a 7th-round pick.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I'm thrilled at his growth. He's really been so impressive, and he deserves all the credit in the world. I could see Iowa, if we are able to win the time of possession game, in the fourth quarter, a tired Iowa defense, is, given our receivers, giving KJ, Ian, DT, are going to put together a winning drive, and they could win by 7, but they could win by even more than that. They could come out with a 10-point victory. That's the possibility. But if the defense is not playing well, and if we make mistakes, which we haven't done so far, that's when it gets dicey.
We've made a few mistakes on defense.
Yeah, and I think what we have to make sure of against Iowa is, number one, we win time of possession. We don't turn the ball over. We don't have penalties. I mean, we had 3 penalties today, which was great. Miami had 9. But I think we're going to have to be clean in how we play, disciplined, and the defense is going to have a very good game. And ultimately, the offense is going to take this to a victory late in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, we're still talking 2 weeks ahead. Norfolk State is a team that I have jumped on in the past.
Who?
I don't say anything that'll come back to bite you in a week. Just don't do it.
Did they forfeit yet?
Dude, this is gonna look so bad if we lose.
Don't they have a great band?
They do. And Virginia's lovely.
Well, and I'm sure Norfolk State's a great school, and I'm sure it's a great program, but it's one of those games where I never like to watch because, the talent differential is so substantial. But again, Norfolk State, they're not coming in here thinking they're going to get blown out. So you have to respect them, and you have to
talk to yourself. Look in the mirror and say that to yourself. Do you hear what you're saying?
Hey, I just said it right now, and just like, you can't go into games like this with any different approach than if you were playing Penn State, and you can't get complacent because if you do, Norfolk State's going to beat you, just like we saw with Appalachian State beating Michigan, or today, USF winning in the Swamp. So they should be practicing as if they're playing Penn State and be disciplined and committed to improvement.
Hey, Bama fans, you get over last week yet? Hey, to be fair, Florida State did drop 77 points this on. I forget
who?
I forget who they faced. It was actually like a respectable team, I believe, though. Florida State schedule
Versus
77 points versus. Give me 5 seconds. Oh, East Texas A&M. Yeah, pick a struggle.
Wait,
right?
hold on. They played Texas A&M, the Aggies today?
No, East Texas A&M.
There's an East Texas A&M?
Yeah, it's the Texas A&M Commerce Lions. That's who they face.
I've never heard of them. And you know what? Shame on Florida State for scoring 77 points. What is with that?
Hey,
Mike,
your SC Trojans scored 78 week 1.
well, shame on Lincoln Riley, too. Come on. It's like, when is enough enough? Although you might argue that they probably did have their third stringers in there, and they just couldn't stop them either. So,
Let's see. How did Tommy Castellanos do today?
Tommy Castellanos, boy, he's being talked about as a Heisman candidate.
So far, I mean, he is.
East Texas A&M, I don't even know who that is.
Oh, my God. Okay. So it was a quick day for him. 8 of 11 for 237 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Well, Long Island University did better last week when they only lost by 55. Oh, wait, that was to Florida, who lost to South Florida.
Yeah. So, and now LIU's, hopefully, are they still beating Eastern Michigan?
Let's look this up. I'm going to look this up real quick because our good friend Donovan Gibbs.
They're up 14-10 in the third quarter.
Good. And Donovan Gibbs, our other co-host who does a fantastic job, said on the show this past week that they were going to be competitive with Eastern Michigan, and sure enough, they are with a 2nd and 11 at Eastern Michigan's 15-yard line. So they got the ball deep into their territory with a 4-point lead.
LIU is plus 130 right now. Donovan's not allowed to say anything, but I'll tell you, throw some money on LIU because I think they're going to win.
Yeah, and Alabama up 28-0 on the Louisiana Monroe Warhawks after the first quarter. That was quick.
Well, first quarter? Damn, okay. I think they were pissed off this week.
Yeah, I think that when Kalen DeBoer got him in the locker room, he said, "How dare you? How dare you play like that?" I mean, they just weren't themselves last week, but Alabama is still Alabama, and they're going to be back, and they're going to be competitive.
Did you see Baylor SMU?
No, who won?
So Baylor, unranked, they were down 17 points in the third quarter.
Uh-huh.
No, they were down 14 points in the fourth quarter, and they came back and beat number 17 SMU, and now they're on a 14-game winning streak against SMU.
Really?
Yeah. So I think the Battle of Texas belongs to the Bears now.
Unbelievable. Baylor. Okay, well.
I was right. Yeah, they scored. No, I was wrong. Never mind. Okay, I was reading the overtimes wrong. Yeah, they were down 14 in the fourth.
All right, well, guess what? We got a big game here tonight. LSU in Norman versus the Sooners.
LSU with a tough 2 weeks to start the year.
Sorry, Michigan.
I was going to say.
Michigan going to Norman, and the game's on right now. Let's see. Do we have
I think I have Michigan taking that one.
7-0 Oklahoma with 7 minutes left in the second quarter.
Let me see. What's my FanDuel, my Voice of College Football bets looking like right now?
Oh, your bet's probably very bad. You're probably going to lose.
Oh, thanks for the support.
You probably made some bad decisions.
I do make bad decisions on occasion.
Yeah.
You know what my bad decision was today?
What?
I bet on Howard to beat Temple. And guess what happened? They lost 55-7.
Yeah, so in the future, consult me before you make bets like this.
You know what else I did? And I promise this had no bias whatsoever. I took Rutgers minus 14.5. And
you were right.
They covered that. It was an ugly cover, but it was a cover nonetheless.
Yeah, I said Rutgers 27-13, and boy, was I wrong. So, all right, so let's wrap it up with some final thoughts. Gabe, what are your 3 takeaways from today?
My 3 takeaways are holy. I want to curse so bad, but I'm going to contain it. Holy cannoli, Ethan Kaliak Manis. you might be a top 10 quarterback this season so far. And if you keep this up, you are going to get drafted, my friend. That is take one. Take two is the unfortunate simple one, and that is that our defense needs to improve, though they did show signs of hope unlike last week. And take number three is an open-ended take that neither you or I have the answer to technically at this point, and that is, did we find our RB1?
Oh, it's a great question.
I think we could have.
I think Antoine Raymond is the guy.
I mean, only time will tell. They got almost even snaps. But I will say this when it comes to CJ. Two of the plays, he had no chance. That 4th and 1 where Shiano was trying to take a timeout, he had no chance. As soon as he got the ball, there were 3 guys stalking him like coyotes to a stray cat.
What a miserable thing to have happen.
Yeah, like that was not his fault, and that was just a loss of 3. And so his stats would look a lot different. And that happened one other time. So I'll excuse 2 of those snaps. And look, 10 for 45 is still a good game. Don't get it twisted. That's a good game, especially for a running back. That means if you give him the ball every time, you're getting a first down in 3 plays every time. So that's still good. But on Raymond, you might be Manangai-esque, my guy.
Well, I think, to me it doesn't really matter because either way they're both going to get a substantial number of carries and they're going to be, formidable. I guess my 3 takeaways are, number 1, just like you, Ethan Kaliakmanis, MVP of the game. Great job. Amazing growth over the last several months, and he should be proud of himself, and he's done a great job, and we're certainly proud of him. Number 2, the offensive line. Offensive line for the second straight game, giving Ethan a lot of time to throw, opening up holes for those running backs. And the third point, like we discussed, defense, namely defensive line. Got to improve, or else we're in for some bumps along the road, to put it mildly.
It's tough because, was it the defensive line? Was it the secondary? I mean, it was a lot of bit of both.
They're both.
Yeah. Our linebackers did okay. That's one spot I didn't mind.
Yeah, they did. They were solid, but I think when the defensive line doesn't get push, it stresses the whole defense.
You can't control when the other quarterback gets past the front 4 every time.
Front 4 has to be disciplined. They cannot rush past the quarterback. They have to maintain containment. And I just thought it was too inconsistent. So I'm going to be looking at the defense. Next week is a great opportunity for them to work hard in practice and then improve against Norfolk State. And then Iowa comes in with an offense that's not going to be great. Another chance for them to really improve and take Rutgers to 4-0, which I hope will happen.
And I would like to finish with a quote from a Jets not so great, but a guy who turned his career around, and that is what I see in Ethan Kaliakmanis. Ethan Kaliakmanis, you went from Jets Geno Smith to Seahawks Geno Smith, and guess what? They wrote you off, but you didn't write back. Go get him, my friend.
Love you, Ethan. Great point. All right, well, everybody, thanks so much for being here. If you like the show, hit that like and subscribe button. We're going to be here Monday evening at 7 p.m., as always, to discuss Norfolk State and the upcoming game and all news related to Rutgers football. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of the college football games tonight and go Scarlet Knights.
Go Scarlet Knights and go LIU.
You got it.